If COVID-19 has taught us anything, it's the fact that anything can change in an instant. Change is a hard pill to swallow. And, if we're talking about cocktails, talk about stirring up a cocktail of emotions, talk about anxiety, vulnerability, confusion. It's a scary place. Fear is one of those emotions that hits us all. So today, I like to focus on the positives. Let's look at transitions as a positive thing because transitions, whether it's hard to swallow or not, it's a part of life. Transitions are a time of opening up to understanding yourself more, and it's an opportunity to strengthen your inner self. So I've brought along with me some amazing guests. I have Miss Deanna McKenzie and Stephen Galbraith of Noble Vibes. They're a Rochester original reggae band, and they're going to perform some of their original music for you today, as well as Ahlia Kitwana of Little Black Buddha. And she's a CEO. She's going to talk to us all about transitions and has all the knowledge behind it. So thank you guys for tuning in. This is episode 39 of Afternoon Cocktail Transition. I hope you enjoy our show.
Think we're ready?
I think she's doing the little music thing or something. Yeah, that's like the little intro thing. I can't hear her. She's muted.
Oh. Hello, Amanda.
Hello.
Can you guys hear me?
We
Now
can
I
now.
can.
Okay. Sorry, a little technical difficulties here. So Nova Vibes, what are you guys going to play for us?
We're going to play Welcome to My Heart, which is actually like the third song, that Steve and I ever wrote together. And it's on our first album. And this song's actually ended up a love song shared amongst couples in our crowd. After a while, we've even had couples get engaged to it. One in particular would be Jim and Susan Prosperi. They're married now. They didn't wait too long after that. It's a sweet love song, basically about finding the love of your life.
I love it. Well, you guys take it away.
Okie doke.
You ready?
Yeah. I never used to believe in love at first sight. I never used to think I'd find some peace of mind. But I can feel your vibe from across the room. And baby, I think I might be in love with you. 'Cause the earth stops spinning for an instant and the sea stops rocking for a moment. Every time I get closer to you, it's hard to keep my composure with you. And it's so real, so real, the way I feel. Ooh, you make me want to say, welcome to my heart. All right, welcome to my heart. I'm so glad to have you in here. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Welcome to my heart, boy. Welcome to my heart. I'm so glad to have you in here. Yeah. Every morning when I rise, I think of you. Yeah. When clouds fill up my sky, you make it blue. And baby, no one else could ever make me smile, not the way you do. I just love your style. 'Cause the earth stops spinning for an instant and the sea stops rocking for a moment. every time I get closer to you. It's hard to keep my composure with you, and it's so real, so real, the way I feel. Yeah, you make me want to say, welcome to my heart, alright, welcome to my heart. I'm so glad to have you in here, yeah. Well, alright, welcome to my heart, boy, welcome to my heart. I'm so glad to have you in here, yeah. Take your time, don't hurry, take your time, love me softly. We're just two friends, we're getting closer than we've ever been, yeah. 'Cause the earth stops spinning for an instant, and the sea stops rocking for a moment. Every time I get closer to you, it's hard to keep my composure with you, and it's so real, the way I feel. Yeah, you make me wanna say, welcome to my heart, boy, welcome to my heart. I'm so glad to have you in here, yeah. Ooh, well, welcome to my heart, alright, welcome to my heart. I'm so glad to have you in here, yeah. Well, alright, welcome to my heart, boy, welcome to my heart. I'm so glad to have you in here, yeah. Ooh, yeah, welcome to my heart, yeah. Welcome to my heart. I'm so glad to have you in here, yeah. Ooh.
Bravo, you two. It's so great to hear you guys. I wish we were really by the water somewhere and not on Zoom listening to the full band. So you guys are actually a 5-piece, right? Am I missing a member? 5
Six.
pieces? 6 pieces.
And if you include our soundman Bill, 7.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, they are phenomenal. If you guys haven't seen them, those listening back home, a great local band to our Rochester music scene here. And so tell us a little bit about your background. How did you guys all find each other?
Well, it's funny. It began with a Craigslist ad. I'd moved
Ah.
here. Well, it'll be 9 years in September is when I moved here, and I shortly after that I answered a Craigslist ad that was put up by our keyboardist Jason. Jason's our keyboardist and musical director, and he was looking to start a reggae band, and it's something I always wanted to be a part of. And I answered, and then over the course of months, we started putting things together piece by piece.
Now, were you guys in reggae bands before Noble Vibes?
Jason was, and Deanna,
Yeah,
and they worked together. Yeah.
Yeah, Jason and I had known each other from another band that we met in 2004. We used to be in another band called Positive
Wow.
Crisis. And so once he started to work with Steve, he got a hold of me and a couple other musicians, and well, we got the ball rolling. As for me, like when it comes to like discovering ourselves and things like that through reggae, as for me personally, I'd say it's like a lifelong passion, and the same I think goes for Jason too. You know.
Did you? I mean, who are your inspirations? Like your writing inspirations, and I mean, what reggae artists have you listened to over time? I mean, obviously Bob Marley. I know you guys have done tributes, but aside from like Bob Marley, who else would you aspire to be like?
Barris Hammond and Marcia Griffith. Barris Hammond in particular, because he's mastered the art of writing a song that does not exclude anyone. So I always look up to him for that. And Marcia Griffith is basically the queen of reggae. She's like the powerhouse of reggae that's lasted since the 60s, all the way until the now. And she's still really dominant on the stage. And so those are my heroes. Bob Marley's my dad.
Yeah, he's pretty cool, not gonna lie. And I mean, talking about band, going back to your band members, I do have to give a shouty out because you guys have the best drummer ever. We share a drummer, Mr. J. Raz. Mwah, I miss you. Um, yeah, we love the J. Raz. He's the best. So, talking about writing, what's your writing process like? So, is it kind of a joint effort, or Deanna, like, do you just write some lyrics down and bring it to Steve, and then you guys introduce it to the rest of the band, or how does it typically unfold?
It's definitely a joint effort. Sometimes one of us will have an idea and just share with the other and build off of that. Sometimes we'll collaboratively have an idea and then bring it to the band and see what the band has to say or what they want to add to it or take out. So it's usually like most of the time me and Steve bringing stuff to the band that either he or I thought of and built up from there. It's always like a variation. It's never the same twice.
Sure. Has there ever been like a time where you guys were just all in a room and, just kind of free writing, like together?
Well, we don't do as much of that. We'd like to. That'd be, it's interesting because a lot of the times, as Deanna was saying, we'll write and come up with ideas and share it between ourselves. But what we usually come up with, sometimes we'll demo something, but we always bring it to the band, and the band always adds their voices to it. And when I'm writing, I'm always thinking of how it's going to sound when everybody adds their own voice to the song. So maybe in that way, there's more of a collaboration. But I think that'd be something we should maybe do more of, particularly because we miss each other and we don't see each other. And so when we get back together, it'd be fun to get very creative,
I mean, the cool thing, with all of this happening with COVID, it's hard for us to get together to practice, but I found that using virtual platforms like Zoom, doing some co-writing, I co-wrote with one of my students throughout this time, and it actually worked out to be pretty great, because you guys all don't have to be playing at the same time, but like in terms of exchanging ideas, like it actually works out pretty well. So if that inspires you to try it, that down the line, I recommend it.
I appreciate
So,
it.
oh yeah, no problem. So, I mean, I kind of want to address the white elephant in the room, and I hope I don't offend anybody by asking this question. I actually asked Deanna ahead of time because I was worried. But, do you guys you're a predominantly white band, right? Singing reggae music. Do you ever, or have you ever received any judgment for being in a reggae group made of predominantly white members?
Yes, I have. But at the same time, I know it's weird, but I can turn frowns upside down. Like I've had those moments where like people may feel uncomfortable, especially culturally. There's been those little hot around the collar type of moments for me personally, where it feels like maybe black people or Caribbean people might feel like I'm harvesting or stealing from their culture or mocking it, and that's definitely one thing that I never want to do. I always feel like I'm paying forward what it's done for me instead. And so with that in mind, I'm able to realize, that there's actually a purpose in what we're doing, and that's nourishing and healing and unifying our crowd and us together, and creating this big synergy. And, our crowd is actually like really diverse in the first place. It's like a family, more than anything. And we've seen people meet and get to know each other of all different walks of life and colors and backgrounds, and I think that our crowd kind of relies on our band as a safe place, where none of that really matters.
Sure. I think you guys are a beautiful example of how music sees no color. I think it's, the vibes that you guys give off and the truth behind your lyrics. I mean, to me, it's not about being black or white, as much as it is about the message that you're spreading across and the love that you're giving to your audience. But yeah, I kind of wondered that, if people like if past judgment or maybe, had said anything negative to you like in the past, because, people can do that.
Yeah, I've had my moments where, I've had to step back and I felt discouraged and even got depressed. I've cried, like, what am I doing here? And, then realize, this is the purpose, like, you can't really walk away from something where you realize you're bringing a whole bunch of people together, and they're all smiling and dancing together. It's singing at once, and not one of them give a care about their complexion at the moment. Nothing hurts at that moment, and that's our purpose.
Sure. I mean, you guys must be going crazy right now, like not playing. I mean, I'm sure you had a lot of gig cancellations, as we all have, within the busiest season probably for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
summers
mean,
are our time. We definitely I miss playing. I also miss being out at shows, and I'm happy for everybody that's kind of gone online because I've been watching other artists, and I appreciate efforts like yours, to still get music out there.
We've been watching your afternoon cocktails.
thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I love it. So today's themes is transition, and obviously, I mean, we've all gone through quite a few transitions in our lives at this moment, but also musically, I mean, you guys have had a switch up in your lineup of band members over time. How do you keep your music flowing and spirits high during times like this?
Well, Jason always says, he's not here right now, but I know that he'd love to answer this question. But he always says, that the band is not a perfect thing. No band is a perfect thing. And realizing and accepting that kind of helps you roll with the punches, basically the same as a family working through problems, So just being able to accept the fact that, nothing's going to be perfect. There's going to be your ups and downs. It helps you just be able to push through that as a team and work things out. And maybe you might want to say something about that, Steve.
Well, I just think all bands are going to have their ups and downs, and then what's magic about playing with Noble Vibes is once we get on stage and we start making music, I'm always reminded about how much I love making music with everybody and how that's the bigger picture, and then everything else seems a bit small.
Yeah, we'll have like a spicy moment maybe, but then when we all get on the stage together, we're like, I freaking love you guys, like, so
Yeah.
it's like a family.
Especially when we look out to the crowd and see all the wonderful people who come see us and their positivity is reflected back. And then, again, it makes anything that we're going through seem rather minor.
Yeah.
Sure. So, what is the most important message that you wish to share through the power of music and to your followers and listeners?
Well, there's a few, but I'll try to break it down. The most important one that I have at the top right now is reality, love, unity, and that it's okay to have some fun and just live. There's a lot of pressure in society and in the world already. It's okay to just be human. Also, we believe that that Noble Vibes creates a path in the community towards becoming something much more unified than this community's seen within our own lifetimes. And that there's a culture that we're creating all our own within this community, and it's a beautiful one. And that's basically it. So starting with the message of love and unity and reality and, just living life and having some fun. I believe that helps us with the beginning of the future in our own community.
Absolutely, sticking true to that reggae spirit too, I think. I love it. So what's next for you guys? I mean, you have some recordings out currently. Do you have any plans in the works to record any new fresh tracks for us to listen to?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have a new single will come out in August, hopefully. We're putting together a video. It's more of an animation because we can't get together.
Yeah.
And that's a song called Mr. One Drop. So that's Mr. One Drop will drop, I
Yes.
guess. And then we're finishing up a new CD. We were pretty hot on recording it, in March when things slowed down. But we just did some guitar tracks and some keyboard tracks. Pretty soon we'll get the vocals going, and so hopefully that'll be a little bit into the fall. Our new CD will come out.
Awesome. Well, best of luck to you guys. And your music currently could you tell our audience where they could find your music and listen to your current tracks?
Oh, definitely. You should like us on Facebook, first and foremost. You can find us on YouTube. And also noblevibes.com. What else? We also have songs on iTunes also, and what was it?
Well, Amazon, anywhere where you can
Amazon.
get music.
Yeah. But,
All the streaming platforms.
That's right.
Yeah.
And just a heads up, we just started rehearsing again. We just scheduled our first rehearsal this upcoming Saturday since March, and so we're looking forward to that.
Yay. Well, I really hope to see you guys in life and playing in life again soon. Yeah, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show, and thank you for stripping down to do an acoustic set for us today. I really appreciate it. So we're going to hear one more original song from Noble Vibes towards the end of our program. Before I bring up my next guest, I just want to throw a shout out to today's sponsors. So this is Afternoon Cocktail Part 2. This is our 12th show of Part 2 actually today. So after this episode, we are going to take a break for a week, and then we'll be back with a brand new set of another 12 shows. And before I do that, I want to just say hello to Electronic Merchant Systems. If you guys are in need of accepting credit card payments or any assistance with credit card payments, Electronic Merchant Systems are the people to check out. Untamed Events, MissRebeccaDodge.com for all your party planning needs. Hello to Jewish Senior Life and to our residents. If you're ordering your Friday pizza, make sure you get your Salvatore's order in now. And thank you to the Sawmill at Blades for their support. They're located on University Avenue. They have a full menu up at bladesrock.com and a full bar. Ahlia Kitwana, how are you? I think you're muted.
I'm well. Can you hear
Am I
me?
pronouncing your name right? Is it
Yeah.
Ahlia? Ahlia. Okay.
Yeah.
I said it wrong earlier, but thank you so much for being on our show. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. So could you share with our audience a little bit about you, your background, and your journey that led you to Little Black Buddha?
So I'll try to do a condensed version. So about me, I let me see, the owner and founder of Little Black Buddha. My background is very, very I don't know. It's non-linear. So I originally went to school for engineering. I worked as an engineer for a year, and then I quit and I moved to New York and waited tables for a while. And then I ended up teaching high school math in Harlem for a couple of years. Then I got married and had kids, and decided that having to work at a set time was not the easiest thing in the world. And actually, honestly, teaching is super difficult.
Sure.
And so I ended up going back to engineering for over 10 years. And a couple of years ago, I just had a major misalignment with what I was doing professionally and kind of like what I wanted to put out into the world, which is also known as an existential crisis. And I did a lot of work, a lot of introspective kind of work. And eventually I got to Little Black Buddha. And that took several years to kind of like just like work through all that and get to a point where I could quit and go into this full time. But that's why I'm here basically, and why Little Black Buddha is what it is. It's here to help people go through those transitions. I don't want to say it's like less painful, but with more guidance and direction than kind of what I kind of like just stumbled through and trial and error.
Sure. So can you explain a little bit more in depth, like what services you provide to your clients with Little Black Buddha? Mm-hmm. So like go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sure. So it's kind. I am a career coach in a lot of ways, in that I help people once they come to that point in their career where they're like, this is just not working for me anymore, and I need to do something else. Typically, people don't know what they want to do next. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they're like, I have always dreamed of writing a book or, starting my own business. But then it's like, what is that about? Or what are you going to write about? Or what's your business going to be? So I work with them through that professional transition and rebranding. But I like to look at a more holistic picture. And that is where the Buddha part comes in. So we look at like, what are your relationships like? How is this going to affect your family? How is this going to affect the key and important relationships in your life? And how is how can you transition those relationships too? Because I think, and for a lot of people, sometimes when you do this transition thing, some of the relationships will transition with you, but some of them you may need to let go of, and
Mm-hmm.
you need to come to terms with that. So I offer that piece of life. So it's a more holistic, like, let's look at your whole life and how your whole life is going to be affected by this change and this choice that you're making. And the Buddha part is, it's borrowed from the Buddhist philosophy or concept that everybody has an inner Buddha. And I work with clients to find that inner Buddha, to tap into that. And that's where your answers are. A lot of times people are like, oh, I need to go here and there for all my answers to all the questions that I've been thinking about, and I just feel lost. And like, it's usually right within you.
I love that. And I saw that on your website, and as I get older, it's so true, like all the answers all those questions that you have about yourself um, when we go through these transitional phases in our life, like I look at it as chapters, like when I look back at, my 35 years of existence, and the times that some of those most trying times taught me so much about myself. And those were also the times where I just had so much trouble and I had so many inner struggles going on at the same time, and I asked all these questions like, why is this happening? And now looking back and reflecting on it, like I always had the answer. And I just needed it to come to surface on my own, and I needed to go through those struggles in order to realize that, and I think that's it's a powerful statement, it's almost understated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But so I mean, you made quite the career shift. I mean, you had mentioned that you were an engineer, but you were a systems engineer for a space company,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Yes. Yes.
It's amazing. So,
Yeah.
I mean, from going from that to beginning your own company with Little Black Buddha, I mean, that's a tremendous shift.
Yeah.
What was the most difficult part of making that transition for you?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I can still list them out. Basically, I'm learning as I go. So that's the biggest thing. So I'm constantly figuring it out as I move along. And I will say I'm definitely not doing this on my own. I ask questions. I ask for help. I get help when I need it or I can. Um, that's difficult. It's often said that being an entrepreneur can be lonely, and that is the case. I'm a one man or one woman shop right now. I do, I contract out different pieces that I'm just not good at. I've learned that too. That you can't do it all, and
Yeah.
to ask for help or pay for help when you can. Um, so I've joined mastermind groups. I'm a part of Next Core, which is downtown Rochester. So that's an incubator, and they've been a huge help because they know how to do this. And so just reaching out for help and asking for help has been like a saving grace in all this. The problem is you don't always know what to ask. So uh, and or that something's wrong, but you don't know what you need to fix what problem, right? I didn't know what a copywriter was, and it took months to figure out what that is and how they could help me tremendously versus just hiring social media marketers who don't actually do the service that I really need. So just like understanding those ins and outs and nuances has been challenging, and making my life work. I'm married. I have 3 kids. They had a nice, comfortable life, and nobody wanted to say, oh yeah, let's like downsize and move move houses and all that. So I had to like figure out how to make that big shift without like shifting everybody's life in at the same time.
It's incredibly brave of you to do that. Like it's starting from scratch again is, you got to work your way up from the bottom, and to go from such a successful career, to just following your intuition that, what, this just isn't for me. This isn't for my life right now. Like I want to do more, and and having to build from the bottom. Like major kudos to you. That's
Thanks.
very courageous, and yeah, I respect you a lot for doing that. And I hope that you're so much happier now. I'm sure you are, right?
I am. I haven't looked back, and something that I've been preaching often lately is that I have evidence of success in the past, and I believe in my ability to make things work for myself. I just do it. And so if you have that evidence of success, like you've accomplished things or done hard things already, then this is hard, but it can be done. And so I have faith in that.
I think also at the end of the day, it's not about having these major titles or working these jobs that that on paper look, or to when you mention it to people, it's not about impressing others anymore. Like it's really about what makes me happy, like what makes me feel fulfilled. And if you're not there within your career, it's something worth assessing. I mean, I believe that I've done the same thing in my life. Like I was waitressing, bartending, and I tried to fit the mold of like somebody sitting behind a cubicle, and I was just like, what, I don't want to do any of that.
Right.
Like I know there's so much more to my life. I know there's so much more I could give, and I had to like sit down and work from the bottom up, with my music career and everything that I'm doing. And I'm so happy that I did that, because that's how I found myself in the end. And I'm not the richest, and I never will be, but you know what? I'm happy. And to me, like I would take that happiness over any large sum of money any day.
Right.
But what was your biggest lesson coming out of that jump, that career shift? I mean, how has it affected? I mean, obviously, it's affected your personal growth, but like, what was your most positive takeaway from it all?
I think honestly, I'm probably still learning. One of the there's so many lessons to learn, but and I understand that like, so we're in America. I understand that some of us have more privilege or more access to XYZ than other, and that's just kind of how the system and society is set up. But I will say also that in America you can still try, you can still set out and determine what you want your life to look like. And so that is the takeaway, that you can define life for yourself on your own terms and set it out for yourself. At least that is what I was able to accomplish. I just turned 40 last year, and I quit my job in September or like Labor Day, somewhere around there. And I had a party in, I think, October, maybe it was September, but I was like, this is my emancipation party. Like I am free, like, so I found freedom. That was the biggest, that was what I was going for. And that's, it's a big value that I'll hold on to. A lot of other people have other values, but for me, it's like I can define my life on my own terms. So there's self-determination.
I love it. I mean, if you obviously right now, I mean, people are losing their minds, like, or they're thinking, like I'm kind of in this transitional phase myself, like where I'm not sure if I'm going to be going back to my gigs in the fall. Like I don't know what. Right now, there's so many uncertainties, and so many question marks floating in the air around us. Are you finding an increase in the need for your services? Where people are, forced to transition and make changes and plan for their futures.
hmm I would say yes, and it's different now. So I did a webinar on Tuesday, and the prior weekend I listened to a story on NPR. There's some book out about transitions and changes, and the author said that we are, and it's true, we're collectively in what he calls a life quake, which is just a big major change. So all of us are going through this big major change collectively, and it's involuntary. So nobody, and usually that's kind of how life changes work. Nobody asks for their partner to pass away, or big changes like that. Um, so we're all collectively going through this involuntary life change that nobody can really control. The the difference between the collective and what will happen on an individual level is how we handle it as an individual. So, well, and a lot of people are very, very resistant to change. I don't know if that's human nature or not, but it's difficult for a lot of people. So, are you going to like look at your life and say, oh God, like my life is like shit now? Like, I'm sorry if I curse, but
Okay.
like what am I going to do? And like just kind of like give up, or are you going to say like you have a show now, like you pivoted, you saw the opportunity to still give life to
Mm-hmm.
people through a different medium. You're not necessarily in person, but you figured out a way to still like put good art and work out into the world. And so the difference on an individual level is like how people are going to use this moment to move forward. And
Sure.
but yeah, people are really going through a lot more than the typical like seismic shift. It's people are losing their jobs, they don't have health care, they don't know when this is going to end. There's a lot of uncertainty. um but I guess I don't want to say I guess one of the things I try to offer is finding stillness in all that, like learning how to find calm in the swirl of chaos. Like you can still be your own rock or your own anchor. So that's what I try to help with too.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, change, it comes at times where you're least prepared for it, and I think, right now is a really great example of that, and like you were saying, sometimes like a death in the family occurs, or, there's so many other shifts and transitions that life springs upon us, and it's just, how do we move forward from here? Because that's really the only way to move, unless you don't want to move backwards, right? It's just taking that experience and as heartbreaking as it might feel, trying to see what the purpose in all of it is, and how you could continue to spring forward and to carry on with life positively, in some way, shape, or form. It's a tough pill to swallow for sure.
Yes. Yes.
From your experience, I mean, what with your clients, I mean, what most commonly intimidates aspiring entrepreneurs from taking that leap of faith?
Oh, I, I would say there's two things. So oftentimes people want to be comfortable, and being uncomfortable, or like I said, a lot of people are uncomfortable with just uncertainty, and if they do not have a high tolerance for risk or uncertainty, that will definitely slow somebody down and or just stop them before they even start. Another another limiter is money. So most people like the comfort or the stability of a regular paycheck, right? So you always know that you're going to get paid every other week or every week, and you'll still be able to pay your bills. So money and stability are typically things that kind of hold people up, and then also relationships. So like, as I think I said before, like a transition or change, like if it's just one individual making that change, that all the relationships in his or her life will be impacted. So sometimes the relationship is more important to the person, and nothing wrong with that, than going out on their own and trying something different.
I think that relationship with yourself is really primary, though, you know, because like what you're saying, like if you're in a comfortable job, right, and you're miserable, that's gonna reflect in your relationships anyway, right? You
Right.
come home, you might be yelling at the kids, you might be, you know, like angry at your husband or your partner, you know what I mean? Like it no matter what, your happiness is really what matters the most there, you know, because if you're not happy, then that's going to reflect. So even the fear of change, yeah, it's a scary thing to do, but you know, if in the end, like I said, like if maybe you won't be as financially comfortable, you might be a little unstable for a while, but in the end, does that stability outweigh the emotional quality of what you're projecting to the people around you? You know,
Right.
like that's the real like balance beam, you know, that everybody's got to kind of walk.
Yeah. But I guess the downside is there are a lot of people who are not aware enough to know that, like
Yeah.
not self-aware enough to know that, you know, like they're putting out all this bad energy because they're unhappy.
Yeah.
So that happens a lot. So
Well, Ahlia, thank you so much for giving us your time. And can you tell our audience, could you direct them to Little Black Buddha's website? Where could they find you and more information about your services?
yeah, just go to littleblackbuddha.com. I do have a new program coming up in August that will be kind of a cohort of women who are all going through some sort of transition professionally together, and we'll walk through how to get through that transition and make room for the change that they want in their life.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, littleblackbuddha.com. And Buddha is Buddha.
DDHA.
Yeah,
Like
sometimes
booed.
people,
Ha.
yeah.
Yeah. I know. I kept spelling it wrong. I wanted to spell it with an AH and I had to like train myself. It's booed. Ha.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I like it. Well, thank you so much again, and I really appreciate your time and you know, continued success to you and happiness.
Hey, thanks for having me. And good
Thank
being
you.
with you. I love it. So,
Thank you so much. So, Nova Vibes, you guys ready to rock out one more song for us? Close out our show.
Yep, we got one more tune. It's called Supernova Reggae. It's going to be out on our next album that we've been working on. We've played it live a few times, but now we're definitely putting out an album. We've got crowd approval, so
Yeah.
we're gonna.
Got the crowd approval. You got to do it, right? I love it. Well, take it away, guys.
Alrighty. Here I come, we're gonna take this one to the next millennium. Dropping reggae music on the generations to come. Yeah. Ha! 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're gonna ride the universe in my space station. We're gonna cruise the Milky Way when we play this one. Yeah. It's sensational, electromagnetic, so celestial, supernova reggae. Hey, you know we're gonna dip, 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 like the Big Dipper. Hey, back again someday, someday. 40 billion light years away, away. I'll be back again someday, yeah. You know we're gonna dip, 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 like the Big Dipper. Ooh, ha! We're gonna dip, 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 like the Big Dipper.
Hey!
Ooh, it's sensational, electromagnetic, so celestial, supernova reggae. It's sensational, electromagnetic, so celestial, supernova reggae. Come! 40 billion light years away, away. I'll be back again someday, someday. 40 billion light years away, away. I'll be back again someday, yeah.
Yeah, Steve and Deanna of Noble Vibes, you guys rock. Thank you so much for playing for us today. And make sure you all back home check out Noble Vibes. They have a Facebook page as well as Little Black Buddha does. And you can find them both on Instagram. And make sure you also stream their music if you are interested. So today's theme was transition. And I want to leave you off with a few closing words. So realize that change is inherent to life. Without change, our life courses would be very dull. You may not be seeking change, but when it seeks you, take heart in the fact that no one's life ever completely stands still. People enter your world and leave it. Material possessions come and go. Careers invariably involve turning points. No one ever gets through life without undergoing some type of change. So when it happens, don't fight it. Use a transition to reflect on where your life has been and where it's going. Look out for the hopeful signs in every transition, and you're bound to feel better. Thank you guys for tuning into Afternoon Cocktail today. Thank you to our sponsors, Compeer Rochester, the Jewish Home of Rochester, also Sawmill at Blades, Electronic Merchant System, Salvatore's Pizzeria, and thank you to all our Patreon sponsors as well. We are closing out part 2 of Afternoon Cocktail today. So we will be back. We're taking a week off. We'll be back with a brand new set of shows and lots more talent and brilliant people to share with you. So thank you again, and you guys have a wonderful weekend. Take care.